He's just done so many things with so many people, particularly in the Chicago market as far as sponsorships and race cars and hot rod clubs, and everybody knows Harry. There's always people out there that are willing to put their money and their time and effort into a car. You know, America was built on cars, and there's a lot of talented people out there, and Harry will be here. My name's Tom Armstrong. I own a company called Bonic Sign Contractors, and we work all 50 states in the Caribbean. I have known Harry since 1975, and I feel like I'm really part of their family. I met him in Detroit at Autorama, and he had the car was called the Chicago Fire. I was showing cars for someone else, and I didn't see him again until, I believe, that summer I was at the Street Rod Nationals, and I think it was in Memphis. We got a new theme for the car. He said, we totally took it apart, and he said, I have a new display. And he said, I've got a new Chevrolet crew cab pickup truck and a 42-foot chaparral trailer, and he said, I want you to take the car on the circuit for me. I said, okay. It sounded pretty good. I was probably 21, 22 years old, and no obligations. So we did. He took the car apart and completely redid it. It became the Disco T. And it was on a 3-point turntable at an angle with a whole jukebox, whole display, backdrop, light show. And we had matching uniforms that actually matched the pattern in the seats. I went to 25 shows all over the United States, Canada, and we did win the International Championship in 1976. Car was way ahead of its time, and at least in my opinion, Harry Willett was probably one of the most talented car builders that ever.
We built the Easy Pickup, then we started doing hot rodding. We started Street Rods Limited, and then when I built from the T-bucket, from the 23, is when I started building the Phoenix. It wasn't necessarily going to be called the Phoenix, but I built the Phoenix to be a totally different car. Tube chassis, squatted down low. The guys in the club talked me into bringing it to the Chicago World of Wheels. Brought it there. Joe Conkle was there. So when I met Joe Conkle, he looked at the car and says, why didn't you save this for Detroit? Brought the car to Detroit, won Best Rod. I beat the car, then won the Riddler for class because he was in the same class, and sort of got, oh my goodness, let's try this. That's what got me building show cars. So the Phoenix got changed, redid the whole car, made it Chicago Fire to the Disco. I started showing it on the circuit. Ended up winning the championship with the car.
We met at work. Harry used to hide I was a mail girl before I was a secretary, and he used to hide my mail cart. And then I met him. And after a few dates, we got engaged and we got married the following year. And we've been into cars. I used to help him paint in the garage. I was his prepper. And we had 2 lines in the house, and my son was a baby. And I would take the phone off and put it in his room and dial the number, and I'd have it in the garage. So I had the first baby monitor from the phone. so I could tape off cars so that when he came home, he could paint. And then we started doing car shows and traveling all over. And then he became a director, and we started doing amphitheater.
When Jerry was working at Allstate around that time, he wanted us, we were talking about a direct repair program. He wanted to start. So, he offered to make me a pilot program for the direct repair program. And which we did. We became a pilot program, which the industry didn't like, but it basically developed the direct repair programs that they have today. We also worked with State Farm to develop theirs. So at that time, when Enterprise came in, we ended up selling that corner to Enterprise. That became their location. Our shop, one corner, they walk right across the street. They made it very successful because they worked with the direct repair program right direct with the insurance company. We did a Buick Riviera for Walter Payton when he was first a rookie. Then we did a GS one. In fact, there was a picture of you sitting in his GS, and he did that little note with you. He gave you a signed picture saying, "Don't sit in my car the next time," or something. He put a little note under, remember?
Yeah.
But Walter was really a gay. Then we ended up doing a Silver Cloud Rolls Royce for him in champagne and black. Every time we'd see him in an airport, for some reason we see him in the airport all the time, he'd sneak up and pinch you on the back of the leg. Oh my God. Hurt.
I'm Tim O'Connell, Bob O'Connell's son. This was his car that he built and finished in 1967. And actually we had it at the World of Wheels in 1967 at Navy Pier, which is when we first met Harry, and when Harry and my dad became friends. Had fun ever since and started Street Rods Limited back then and grew into a pretty good-sized car club. We traveled everywhere and had just a great time, and it was good to see the two families grow up together, and we still see each other, and just look to have a lot of fun today too.
Hi, my name is Mike Folga. I've known Mr. Willett for probably, quite some time. I met him back in 1992. I've known of him since I was a little kid because, as you can see from the cars behind me, this is what started me into this industry. And I always respected him as a builder, and he was local. And then I had the opportunity to meet him along my career as a body guy and a painter. And then as I moved on through my career, we got to be real good friends in probably about 1992 or 93. I've had an opportunity to work with him on America's Most Beautiful Roadster, the car you see behind us, the Disco, and quite a bit of other cars. He's no longer just somebody I admire, he's actually a good friend. And it's a tribute to Harry, this show, all the people around him, and it's an honor to be considered a good friend of his.
My name is Dave LaPella, and God, just like any car lover and having a passion for cars, the guys in my neighborhood, I lived on the south side of Chicago, and seeing cars like Bob O'Connell's here and Harry Willett, and it was so kind back in the 70s when I bought my car, I actually purchased it the way it looked, but they did a lot of mechanical work, and that's what I am. I'm a mechanic. Anyway, they asked me to be part of their club back in 1973, and to be with those guys and to travel around and go to the car shows was just so amazing. Harry and Bob O'Connell was the godfather of Street Rods Limited, and just a real pleasure to be around and just enjoyed. And that was a big thing in the 70s about car clubs, winning club participation together. And so running around together was so neat. And to realize that Harry built America's Most Beautiful Roadster now is just such a great thing. And coming to the World of Wheels, I try to get here as much as I can because he's been such a great friend. And just enjoy having my car here to be on display, especially now this year with honor to Street Rods Limited has been a real treat.
Somebody came to me through Russell they were having problems with buses where the paint was peeling. They were painting buses every year. What do you got to paint a bus every year? Doesn't make any sense. We did them a custom bus. For some reason, I don't know how we got into that, but he says, he gave us a bus to do a custom bus. And then they actually kept that bus on the Michigan Avenue tour. The Michigan Avenue run.
So we traveled to many, many different car shows that he ran, and I was always the enterer, and whatever needed to be done, we did. So, and my children helped us do everything. Used to be done by hand. Now everything's done by computers, which is much easier.
My name's Herb Wyeth. I've been on the advisory board. I was one of the initial ones. Harry selected me. I was honored to be able to do that. It was 2007. They've been great friends and great supporters. I build my own cars. Harry's always been supportive of that and lended in whenever help he could. And just working the show every year has sure been a learning experience, but also just a great friendship with Harry and Cheryl.
I guess I had to realize that it was actually started in 2007. That's a long time ago.
Yeah.
I was one of the original members also. Harry's just a great guy. What you gotta know about Harry and this whole hot rodding industry is that what's really trendy now is nostalgia cars. And what you gotta understand is that when Harry started out, it wasn't nostalgia to him, it was current tech. So now he's like one of the founders of all the trends that we see right now. And we got to give hands off to him for being in it for so long, running this beautiful show all the time.
Good morning. My name is Dave Maskus. I'm on the World of Wheels Advisory Board. In approximately 2006, I met up with Harry to put together this motorcycle show. We started it down at McCormick Place, and it's grown every day since then. Most important thing I want everybody to remember is that working with Harry and his partner Cheryl, you're part of their family at the same time, and they're just fantastic people to work with. And thanks for everything, Harry. Appreciate it.
Hi, I'm Larry Williams. I'm one of the advisory board members here at Chicago World of Wheels, and I can remember, many years ago, I've known of Harry for a long time, since I was a kid, but I had the pleasure of working with him as a designer on what would become his Amber-winning 32 Ford. And in the process of doing that, we started getting to know each other better, and that's when Harry was working on gathering up guys for his advisory board, and he asked me to be one of his members. And since then, he impresses me year after year with his incredible knowledge, not only of history, but cars in general. I've learned a ton from him. He's like a second father to me and to all of our board members now. And man, I can't say enough good about him. It's just been such a pleasure working with him.
My name is Brian Kessler. I'm account executive here at Rosemont Exposition Service, and I handle the World of Wheels count here in Rosemont. I started working with Harry about 13 years ago as World of Wheels came here for the very first time. And from that day and working with Harry and meeting him, I knew that we were going to be longtime friends. The stories he told me over the years of the old hot rod days and everything else he brings to the table, staple in this industry.
My name is Bob Bonic. I'm the president of the Chicago Brushmasters. Harry Willett and I became friends probably 17 years ago. His shop was right next to my shop in Orland Park. And we started talking about having a charity auction at his World of Wheels show here in Chicago. We talked and got things together, and he and I were on the same committee with some other people that were lettering artists here in Chicago, and we developed this charity auction from many meetings and other people that were influential to the sign painting and pinstriping community here in Chicago, as Harry was back in the day. And as passionate as Harry was for his show, he wanted to have our show to be the premier pinstriping charity auction in the country. And between his integrity and the integrity of my group and myself, we developed it into just that, the best pinstriping sign painting charity auction in North America.
My bottom line goal was not so much doing it, but to create what should be for the exhibitors. Everything we've done that we've changed over the years of doing this together is to make it easier, faster, more acceptable to the exhibitors.
I can't think of anybody that would say a bad word about Harry. He's had these car shows in his blood. He has made a lot of improvements to how they're ran. He's raised money for charity, donated cars for auctions. He's just an all-around good guy.